Harry took a final look around his cave-like shelter beneath the shrubbery, swung the bag over his right shoulder, and pushed his way back out into the clearing. He paused only to pick up the 3 dead branches he had leaned against the tree the night before. Then, branches upraised in his left hand, he turned west, deeper into the park. Scotty was awake now, too, thanks to Harry's convulsive coughing fit 150 feet away. Scotty wasn't an early riser. He lay for some time, listening through a stupor of sleep and booze to the preparations of his neighbor. Finally, Harry left, and the silence of dripping fog and cars on Fulton Street lulled him back toward sleep. "But Theophilus was your friend," he told himself in disgust. "The least you can do is say goodbye to him." His hand in its fingerless glove crept out from the layers of cardboard and cloth he was swaddled in, closed on the neck of the bottle that lay beside his head, and drew it back in. The mound that was Scotty writhed about for a moment. Gurgles were followed by silence. Finally came a great, weary sigh. Scotty evolved from the mound, scratched his scalp and beard thoroughly, drank the last of the cheap wine against the chill of the morning, and then with a great heaving and crashing hauled his grocery cart out of the undergrowth. Scotty didn't bother with self-beautification, just set his weight against what had once been a Safeway trolley and headed west. However, he walked with his eyes on the ground, occasionally stopping and bending down stiffly to pick up pieces of wood, which he then arranged on top of his other possessions. He seemed to prefer small pieces, but he had a sizable armful by the time he reached the baseball diamond. As he went under the 19th Avenue overpass, which was already humming with the early bridge traffic, Scotty was joined by Hat. Hat didn't greet him. Not aloud, at any rate, but nodded in his amiable way and fell in at Scotty's side. Hat almost never spoke. In fact, he had received his name only because of the headgear he always wore. Brother Erasmus might know his real name. Harry had once said that he'd seen the 2 men in deep conversation, but no one else did. Hat migrated about the city. For the last few weeks, he had taken to sleeping near the Stowe Lake boathouse. Today's Hat was a jaunty tweed number complete with feather, rescued from a bin outside a health food store. It was marred only by 3 small moth holes and a scorch mark along the back brim. He also wore a Vietnam-era army backpack, slung over his shoulder. In his right hand he held a red nylon gym bag that he'd found one night in an alley. He had discarded most of the burglary tools it contained as being too heavy, though the cash it held had been useful. In his left hand he clutched the pale, splintery slats of a broken-up fruit crate. His waist-length white beard had been neatly brushed, and he wore a yellow primrose, liberated from a park flower bed the previous afternoon, in his lapel. From across the park the homeless came, moved by a force most of them could neither have understood nor articulated. Had you asked, as the police later did, they could have said only that they came together because Brother Erasmus had asked them to. That good gentleman, though, despite appearing both lucid and palpably willing to help, proved as impossible to communicate with as if he had spoken a New Guinean dialect. And so, despite their lack of understanding, they came. Sandra from the Haight, wearing her best velvet, Ellis from Potrero Street, muttering and shaking his head, an indication more of synapse damage than of disapproval, Wilhelmina from her habitual residence near the Queen Wilhelmina Tulip Garden, her neighbor Doc from the southern